the entire weekend. We have been waiting for Sunday. This is Championship Sunday. We've already crowned our champion in solos, but we are very close to crowning our champion in teams as well. Only one more game. We've already handled the first two, and it looks like Impact is going to be a tough team to cut down. A very tough team to cut down. My name is Rich, and I am joined by Supersonic. Do you think anyone's going to be able to do it, to cut down Impact?
I think it ends up being somebody like Method has to come in, have a great game, and Impact has to have a not-so-great game. So really, unless they have a rough Game 3, I don't think that anybody can unseat them from that #1 seed.
I mean, we look at the results, we look at the standings, and they are, this is one of the most dominant leads we've seen in H1Z1 Elite Series history. It's one of the biggest leads that we've seen so far in this tournament. And the question is, will they be able to bring that consistency again and just have one of the most dominating performances? I mean, we look at H1Z1 Elite Series in Atlanta, and you had CLG winning. It was not by this much. It was a much closer margin.
It was a much closer margin. We saw very close margins in Atlanta, at least in terms of what we're seeing here. Yeah. Nobody was this far ahead. That dominating Game 1 out of them, and then being able to sneak their way in on the
Game
back.
Game 1 and Game 2 were very different.
On the heels of Method, as Jeesh worked his way into that safe zone after harassing everybody with grenades from above, was definitely something awesome to watch. So I don't know that anybody can unseat them, especially with how hot they're playing right now. I expect them to probably show up again. They've put in the time, the hours. It's been showing. Yeah. They're staying calm under pressure. Even in extreme situations, they're doing well. So I expect Impact to show up again here in Game 3.
There's no way that they're not entering this final game without confidence. They definitely do have that confidence. They've already proved that they can do it when they have the bodies, and now Jeesh proved that he can just be the biggest ninja alive. I mean, he gets in there, and it's not like he was just hiding the entire time. I think that's one of the things that we would be absolutely remiss if we didn't bring that up. We've seen players hide before, and we've seen them perform very well when it's time for them to get out of their hiding place and actually do the dirty work, get the slaying done. But this time around, Jeesh, very good map awareness, knows where everybody is, can kind of figure out when the teams are pulling ahead, start to equalize, make sure that they're still engrossed in that gunfight. But it really was just Jeesh over and over again with those grenades, picking up kills that ensures that Impact is going to be our top team entering this. Second place team is going to be Method. If they can come out with something like a first, I mean, even a first, like they have to come out with something like a first place finish to be able to do it. And then
they need Impact to not do all that hot at the same time. So
it's gonna be really tough. Jeesh, this is the man that put Impact in this position, and I am sure that they are very thankful for that. Has some eyes on the member of Vitality right now. Going to be trying to inch on over to his team, and we've done this a few times today, Jason. We've had 2 games to get us here. 4 teams. We crowned solos over $250,000 in prize money going to be given out today. But for all of the people coming in, just trying to check out this last game, trying to soak up all the hype, trying to soak up all of that H1Z1 goodness, what are we about to see in this early phase of the game?
Well, we're going to see Impact land extremely late and have to run their way into the city to get some loot here for Jeesh. But we are going to see this early looting phase, and we are going to go through that for quite a few minutes as these guys start to get all of their stuff together, start getting their med kits, their armors, their helmets, their weapons. They need to start stocking up on everything that they're going to need for when we get to that late game so that they can fight their way to those victories. However, we're going to go through a little bit of a lull there in the middle as teams start to kind of feel each other out and figure out where they're going to take their spot in the safe zone, which we'll find out where that location is going to be here very shortly. And then we're going to start seeing the gas press these guys together. It's going to be the instigator, the catalyst that kind of forces the game along. And we're going to hit that end game where we just start seeing chaos break out, kills happening left and right. And we're going to see which teams are able to handle the pressure and not crack under it.
Now, we've already seen the impact that safe zones really are going to have in those final portions of the game. The placement also will favor certain teams here if they're already inside of it, and in 10 seconds, that will be revealed. Every time, though, impact has been outside of that safe zone. Every single time. They are so good at breaking in. Last time, it goes a little bit shaky, though. Even with the skill that they have of breaking, using smokes to staff off fights that they don't want to take. But, hey, this one is something that we are familiar with as well. Obviously, this is only that first safe zone, but it is going to have Ruby Lake peering right in the middle. That's going to soak up a lot of the area that you do actually have. Then you're also going to have Spence Hills, Hubbard Reserve, and just a little taste, a little sliver of Pleasant Valley Pie.
Yeah, we're gonna lose just a little bit. We'll have a touch of PV. We're not gonna see a PV finish.
There's no way we see the PV finish. 100% agree with you there.
But
Even I'm not that crazy.
We're not losing any of the safe zone to the edge of the map. So really, we're losing a little bit to Ruby Lake. But I don't really think that it'll center down there. There's a chance of it getting down to Ruby Lake, but we're most likely not going to see it. We'll probably catch something like Humperdinck Reserve, maybe a little bit of Spence Hills with some of the POIs kind of scattered right there towards the center of the safe zone. But a couple different spots that we could have. I mean, really, we could see some interesting ones. Maybe pull into the hills there, just east of PV, where we've got some of the houses, a little bit of a residential with some elevation changes. We saw that at TwitchCon during the All-Star side.
We saw in Atlanta a lot of that. I remember there was a game where we were actually really right on top of Ruby Lake. I kind of want to see if we have something that's similar to that again.
2 or 3 times.
Yeah, we had a lot of Ruby Lake action.
It was rough.
I mean, the main thing is if we get to Ruby Lake, maybe we do see one of these teams kind of get on top of that little island in the middle of Ruby Lake.
That didn't work out too well for too many teams that took it.
It does not, but I want to see it again. I really do. We haven't seen it since Atlanta. It's a really weird finish, and we will have to see as those safe zones start to settle out who will be taking it on board right now with one of the teams. To be honest, it's been somewhat underperforming for me. It's going to be Echo Fox. I think if we look at some of these teams, the invited teams that we wanted to see do really well, some of them are not staying in tow with these other teams.
I agree. There's definitely some teams that were invited that it's hard. And we do talk about this, and we talked about it with Candy, about it being controlled chaos and being consistent in this game is possible, but it is still very difficult. As possible as it is, and as much control as you have, there are things that are outside of your control, and sometimes you're just going to be in rough situations, and you may not be able to play your way out of them. We saw it almost happen to Impact.
It almost happened to
Impact, but Jeesh was able to kind of keep his composure and hold off as long as he needed to get that second place. But that doesn't always work out that way. So, yes, there are invited teams, and they've been having a rough go at this so far. CLG and Echo Fox, obviously the two kind of out in front that are under that situation. We saw Era, though, be able to pull down the third in that last game there as they went up against Method. Another team that we haven't really seen pull off anything crazy yet, Luminosity, was somebody who's been very consistent at Fight for the Crown and Atlanta. So see how that ends up working out.
We will on board with LG right now, and they are still very much in this early looting phase. But you talk about, I mean, look, almost Impact is cut down there, but overall consistency has just been the key word throughout the entirety of this weekend. We've seen it in solos, we've seen it in teams. Impact is just so far ahead at this moment. The question is if anyone will be able to keep up.
Yeah, I mean, Impact has what you need for a team environment. They're very smart players. They play as a unit. They make those decisions like the one to give up that spot to CLG and let CLG and Plus Ultra. And that's one half of it. You need to win your gun battles, which they're capable of doing, and they did lose a gun battle, unfortunately, there, and Jeesh was able to hold on to it. But you need both sides of that, and I really feel like Impact is that team that is really far ahead of everybody else in terms of that unseen half. You see the gun skill. That's easy to watch and see it happen and unfold on screen. Really seeing the decision-making process and everything that goes on in the background that doesn't get spoken about as much. That's the hard part, and that's the part that I think that Impact just has down that other people don't, which really sets them up to be in the position that they are right now.
I think regardless of what position, though, you're entering this game in, you need to put the other two games outside of your head. You need to just play your game. You need to do it right. I mean, obviously, take away from what you saw as far as tendencies go, as far as what worked and what didn't, depending on the safe zone. But you need to put the results in the rearview mirror. You can't get complacent if you're a team like Impact. And we heard that from Candyman. He said, we don't want to get complacent after getting that first place win. We want to do it in the second. We want to do it in the third. But you need to come in with this attitude like this game is the only thing that matters. Obviously, all three are a cumulative result. But even if you are coming in right now as the 12th seeded team, you come in and you win this first one and you put yourself in an incredible place to jump up and potentially get money. It is worth a huge amount of points. So you just can't take into account your placement thus far.
No, Impact's one of those teams that's not going to consider, yeah, we're in a great spot. That's not even in their mind right now. This is a brand new game. It's as if they haven't won anything yet. They're going to play this the exact same way they played Game 1, exact same way they approach Game 2. They're going to treat every game as an individual match. They want to win every game. They're not one of those teams that's going to go ahead and back off or play any different due to the fact that they're in the first place. That has no effect on what they're doing right now.
Yeah, and it just can't, and it can't affect I think it's actually more difficult for the other teams that are behind, and that was really what I wanted to pay attention to. I mean, if you're a team like Nerve White, for example, hasn't necessarily had the results that they want overall. You know, they haven't been able to pull down that high of a finish. They had some really good starts, though. You can't think about that right now. You need to just be going for the finish. You need to calm down, move away from those other games, and just focus on this one, because that's all that's left. You only have this third game left to try to pull home the remainder of that $150,000, the remainder of the overall prize pool of $250K. The first 100 goes to solos. The final $150K going to be going to teams. Inside of the center of the safe zone, though, we see a whole bunch of team tags.
Yeah, I mean, they are absolutely just stacked. You can see LG's in there, but you can also see Adrian's really spread out off that side, and it looks like he might be scouting for a spot for them to get out of there, but it looks like LG has been able to move in, take over the airstrip. All of these teams kind of taking little scattered POIs or edges, as you can see, like Era up along the ridge line. This is going to be very packed, and you're going to see a lot of teams be able to rotate in late. There's not enough POIs there for everybody, so you are starting to see those teams that maybe were farther away from the safe zone decide that they're going to do those late rotations. Impact being one of those teams that's not rotating yet. They're right on the edge, though, in PV. They'll be able to rotate into PV, maybe gather a little bit more information, wait to make their decision on that second safe zone. Right now, though, they're currently discussing, hey, who's got what loot, and do we need to spread anything out? What's this? If the next safe zone goes here, 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 or here, we're going to go to this location, or this location. So they're starting to set up that conversation, and that's what these teams on the outside are all doing. They're trying to figure out where that secondary point is. You need to try and figure those out, and then also have a backup plan already prepared in case that spot's already taken. Are you going to breach and attack it, or do you have a pivot point that you can go to as a secondary option?
I actually want to go back to LG and talk about them for a second. Okay. They've over and over again been the team that's going for this scouting. You know, they'll actually use an ATV, throw somebody out there, and see what they can find. They seem to be the only team that has been doing it frequently, and you see them getting more and more spread out over and over again. Usually they're just going to throw one guy out there. We've talked about Chipsy being the shot caller for this team. You have that team comm, you have that chatter coming back to Chipsy. Chipsy can sit back and make the decision. We saw that last time going down, and all of a sudden they find a good location. Everybody else from LG then hops inside the vehicles that they do have, take all the loot with them. They find that safe line and rotate on over. So that seems to be LG's playstyle, going for the scout. And I'm curious if the other teams have figured it out. Looks like LG's going to be trying to do it again.
Yeah, LG, that's pretty indicative of LG and somebody that's leading the team like Chipsy. That's definitely something that Chipsy likes to do. He's definitely one of those mindful players that wants to have as much information as possible. He's one of those guys that is that strategic thinker that's considering things of 2, 3, 4 steps ahead and trying to plan out what all their options are. So it speaks to basically the way the gameplay style of Chipsy, and you can see that the team mimics that.
Yeah, and you kind of have to play around some players like that and really try to fully utilize them. And, you know, Method is another team where I look at them and I want to see them fully utilize players like Oliver. You know, his shot just being absolutely insane, taking crazy gunfights over and over again. Now, we are going to pull in a little bit away from Ruby Lake at this moment. Ruby Lake, we can more or less consider just a dead zone right now with this current safe zone.
Nobody's
with this current ring. Yeah, no one wants to be near there. It does look like WBG might have to rotate kind of near it. And if they don't, they're going to be bumping into Vitality. And I imagine that they have a pretty good idea of Vitality's location at this point, and they don't want to be taking that fight early. Vitality has to, though, push into the safe zone. They need to look for a place to post up. We've already seen them make these breaching plays in the past. I would say they're one of the best teams at those breaching plays, so they are still a threat, even though they don't necessarily have the best location. 3 members of LG are still going to be moving through these buildings, gathering some loot, imagining that the other 2 are doing a little bit of that scouting and also getting loot. Now, on board with World's Best Gaming, they are going to go through for that trek straight through that pond, going to move on through here, get their wheels a little bit wet, and try to find some good land inside of this safe zone.
Yeah, they're going to start rotating a little bit late, kind of ghosting in the direction of Vitality, kind of following up behind them. So they're going to come rotating in from this south side on the lake. One of the cool things, though, for the guys that if it does pull back towards this side, is that the people that are down along the edge of the lake right now, really there's nobody out there on that island. So it's kind of like having the gas at your back. You know nobody's there. It's just open field, or open water. Nobody's there. You feel pretty safe about that. Chipsy out here scouting, though, for the team, being that guy that wants to find all that information. We still have all 60 players up, 12 teams represented here, and Chipsy is going to spot SOA as they press in towards the area of LG. So Chipsy going to try and hop out of the car there, going to end up cruising it a little too far. It's going to take a little bit of extra damage, and here comes the rest of Spirit of Amiga as they roll in to meet up in those trees. We'll see if they decide to stay there and continue to make this assault onto LG, or if they decide to go ahead and back off. Chipsy trying to get the car back inside. A lot of cover here. This is going to be able to protect that vehicle for a long time. 64% left on that vehicle. That's a great spot. Those warehouses work out really good for protecting your vehicles. You basically give it 360 degree cover. Typically, you're trying to hide the car from one team or another. You can hide it from all teams inside there.
So Spirit of Amiga, we've already said, or SOA, we've already said that they appear to be that underdog team. They are inside of this wooded area. They know the location of LG. Most likely they're assuming that the full team is there, but as we can see, that isn't really the case. LG a little bit scattered about at this point. Now Impact, one of the scariest teams here at the moment, with just so many points on this leaderboard, are going to be very close to this drop. We know that this is a team that can do a whole lot with it, but the question is, are they going to feel confident enough? We can already start seeing Geesh rotating over a little bit early. But SOA,
Devontae might be coming for it. It looks like the SOA may be sending them. Yeah, Devontae coming down to try and grab that. So we might see Geesh and him run into each other, or maybe Impact bait it and take out Devontae.
I mean, that's the question. We've said Impact is that team to take these calculated plays before. Last time they were in a scenario with that crate, they didn't go for it. They were looking for a potential bait, but here we are going to see that the 308 is inside, 2 makeshifts as well, and it looks like it is going to be Impacts for the taking. The question is, how close?
Wrestle.
Able to take that first kill with the hunting rifle. Sorry, he's able to take this first kill.
Yeah, with that 308, that's exactly what happened. 308 to the face, going to put you down every single time. Drassel landing a very nice shot into Zeeth there from Spirit of Amiga, and Spirit of Amiga going to be the first one down a player here in Game 3.
Now 12 teams are still going to remain, but with that first blood going to be more difficult for SOA. We can see, though, they've done some serious work on LG's resources. That police car going to be it's just taken so much damage at this point, but we can see Nerve also rotating around. They may be able to get a shot onto SOA. They have seen in the kill feed that there is a potential opportunity, but it would be quite greedy to be going for kills at this point. Plus Ultra trying to eat up a vehicle of their very own at this point. They are going to see 2 of them riding by. Plus Ultra looking to see if they can get the lead shots in.
Just trying to eat away at a couple vehicles, put a little damage in, but again, we've got, okay, they do have a second car. I was about to say, 5 guys, 1 car, usually not the best. I don't know if you noticed, but one of the guys in LG in that building with Drassel is actually already in the back seat play. He's sitting in seat 4 of the cop car inside. So if anybody comes inside, they're going to get a nice surprise. One, why is there a vehicle inside parked against that door in that corner? But also there happens to be somebody inside waiting for you to come in. So we'll see if that ends up coming into play. Looks like he has gotten out of it by now, but that would have been, as we say, a cheeky play. That would have been an extremely cheeky play for Reddit to be able to pull that off.
And not a bad one either. I mean, if you are
it'll be unexpected, that's for sure.
If you're fearing that you're going to get crashed, it does seem to make a lot of sense to have that player in position to just get free shots into the players that are crashing. You know, it sets up very well. You want to be able to defend the location that you are in, because we've seen breaching plays already very popular. This is an early portion of the game to see them happen, though. Don't expect too many of them. That's ultimately why he can get outside of that 4th seat. Era going to drive around their caravan at this point. They have 2 police cars. SOA going to be the closest team to them. Devontae was the one player that we thought may go for the crate, but ultimately he does not even challenge, so we do know that loot did go to Impact.
And we are see Imperial Hal step up and take a few shots in the direction of Devontae. We are going to see our next safe zone here very shortly. This next circle being one of the bigger changes and one of the determining factors going into this 3rd/4th circle. So we are going to see it centered down around Era. Era currently outside, LG in a great position right now. Unless they get pushed and breached, they're in a really solid position. Currently with cover on all sides of them. They can wait this entire circle out and wait for the next one with still having an opportunity of it pulling towards them. So LG probably with the most prime real estate currently, but they are spread out amongst multiple warehouses. So if a team decides to do a crashing play into them, they could potentially end up in a very rough outnumbered situation as a team comes in on a 5-on-2, possibly a 5v3. They're going to be down players even though all 5 players are up.
You can see LG still trying to get a little bit done with this hunting rifle in the hands of Drazzle, peeking out, trying to pick away at Era. Doesn't see anyone just yet, but still peeking around this corner, trying to find it. Being very cautious here. He doesn't want to stay in one place for too long. Just trying to get that quick look out, trying to see if he can find a head for that gun to find purchase. But ultimately, I agree. This is LG's opportunity to get a first place finish. The interesting thing as well, if LG does get one of these high placings, that pretty much guarantees impact, honestly. Just a very good result, first or second. LG hasn't been able to do too much as of yet. They're not that high on the leaderboard. If they do pull down first, that would still work in relatively well in Impact's favor.
Yeah, I think Impact, though, I said that it doesn't really affect the way they play. They might be slightly more passive here just to kind of guarantee themselves into a higher position, but I don't think that they'll play it any differently. But there is a chance that maybe they decide to take a few
passive doesn't work the same way in teams. I think that's also another thing that you really have to talk about because you can be passive up to a point, but
depends on the circle and depends on your location.
For sure. There really isn't the same level of passive play. Oh, that's flipping a car with just about everyone from Myth inside. They're instantly going to run into this cabin. They're going to flip that Jeep right side up. You can see it's taking a huge amount of damage. CLG is close by as well inside of these wings, and this was the team that we said just needed to prove themselves. Now a potential fight between them and Myth. CLG, the reigning champions of the H1Z1 Elite Series, now in dire straits.
Yeah, I'm not sure if CLG, with their current placements, even with a first place in this match, if they could possibly repeat the win from Atlanta. I don't believe that they can get enough points to... even with a win, I don't know that they can surpass. I don't think they can surpass Impact. So, but still have a chance of getting up into those top 5 and getting into placement. So there's still a chance for that. CLG could still show up and at least break into the money side. We'll see if they can maybe pull that off. Myth here going to be able to have another vehicle after flipping the other one. So they still got a decent shaped vehicle there. That one's really kind of torn up. I don't expect them to take off in that Jeep. I don't necessarily like, go ahead and move that. You don't want the half blown up Jeep sitting next to your good Jeep and causing damage if it explodes.
The main thing, though, with CLG is they're completely reliant on this game for that money. You talk about them potentially breaking in with a good finish here, but as of right now, it doesn't look like they will be able to grab any of that prize money. There is a whole lot of it, but most of it is going to be going to first place of that 150K. Most of them, that is going to first place. Vitality very far on the outskirts here now with where this ring has pulled. Impact as well. You say maybe Impact goes for the more passive play, but right in the middle of the safe zone is going to be that water as well, which is going to have a huge impact on that finish. CLG and Myth staring straight at each other through their scopes. Can hear those explosions coming out as well. Massive area of denial in between CLG and the players of Myth. Myth spreading out quite a bit. They're actually shooting their own car at this point as well.
Yeah, get rid of it, set it on fire to where if somebody pushes in, you can blow it up on them, or the other option is just get rid of it so somebody else doesn't blow it up on you and you can run that direction. You want it out of the way, and you don't want a ticking time bomb sitting there in case you have to try and get out of dodge and head out that direction. You don't want to have to run past something that could turn into a bomb on you.
Yeah, it's a heads-up play coming out from Myth here. CLG not getting overly aggressive, but definitely letting their presence be known. They need to come up very big in this game if they want to get into the money, as we have already stated. But Myth, also a team that needs to prove themselves here. Looked incredible to qualify. They fought very hard to make it here today. Vitality now starting to crash into the safe zone. Will they go for that breach play on LG?
I think that if Vago's feeling anything like he was yesterday, that is definitely the call here. You've got them currently in a 3-2. You could expect him to be there. Vago coming in, trying to get a little bit of information. It looks like Drassel was outside and let them know that he was there. Vago going to come in and basically just take spot down here. So this is very similar to what we saw them do to Method. They're going to crash in kind of on the end of this POI and take up residence. So they're going to hang out here and basically ghost the side of LG. They're willing to basically sacrifice cars and everything else at this point. This isn't exactly mid of the safe zone, though, so there is a chance. If it comes towards them, they're set up great. If it pulls another direction, they're going to have to rotate at the same time as LG, possibly, and we could see these teams ending up having to eliminate each other.
This is just the Vitality play at this point. They're like a clownfish hiding in a CM enemy. I don't even know if I said that right, but that's exactly what they're doing. They just keep doing this. They get really up close and personal on a zone that has already been held by a team, get in the outskirts. They don't push in all the way for the fight. They wait just a little bit, but as you said, the danger with this really is going to be when the next safe zone comes, if it does pull away. But this was the prime real estate. LG definitely having the best spot on the map. Vitality now very close as well. We haven't seen from Jeesh in a while. Jeesh definitely a hard guy to see in general, as we saw in that last game, but we can see Impact has a very good setup here.
We hear a hunting rifle shot come out, and that is going to be at the hands of Impact. Not able to find home, but Jeesh playing the scout role currently. Impact playing that high side, outside edge of the safe zone, not going for that center, which has been working for them. So they're one of the other teams making use of that style of play. Really playing the outside edge and playing that little bit older style, if that's what we want to call it, the anti-meta and playing those late game rotations, and it's working for them. And nobody else is really catching on to it. Nobody else comfortable enough to swap to that style of play. Everybody else is still stuck to this center meta.
Crossover lost his body armor there and then also lost some health as well. He is going to roll that heal, but Plus Ultra and World's Best Gaming are in that gunfight right now as we speak, and as we see this safe zone collapse, and it looks like LG and Vitality might have to go for this fight a little bit early because it is not in the safe zone. Gas going to be advancing soon, but the big thing with what you were saying, Impact now still riding that gas. They might actually get into the safe zone a little bit early here unless they go for a later rotation, but just based off of where it did pull, they find themselves much closer than majority of the teams that are on that eastern outskirt. But Impact has been very flexible with their strategies. Every single game that we have seen out of them in this final series has been different, and they have come up with the results. So we'll have to see if the strategies that they employed this time, whether it is riding that gas, coming in with a late rotation, or if they move into the safe zone now before the gas even does advance in these 2 minutes here, if they're able to do it with another different strategy. If they do, there's just no doubt in my mind that they are the best team in the world.
Yeah, to me right now as a team and where they're currently at and what we've seen the play come out of them today, I do believe that they are the best team currently playing as a unit. They're guys that have been playing together for a while. The team chemistry is obviously there. A lot of top shots. Guys that have a very different outlook and opinion than a lot of the other teams on this, and they've shown that I think that they might be the right opinion on it.
You know, we're going to see more from them later. I don't think we're necessarily going to see them in the kill feed right now. I think the main tension, the place where this is going to snap, the place where it is all going to go down is what we're looking down at right now. Bird's eye view of chaos that's about to ensue. Vitality right on top of LG. These teams are going to have to rotate out of there. They only got about a minute and 20 seconds to enjoy that beautiful location they've set up in because it's about to get bloody. They're going to be staring straight at each other. Now we can see Method putting out some of these long-range shots. You can hear those rifles clattering back and forth. World's Best Gaming going to try to hide their location with the smokes as they cross over to these rocks, trying to get away from this gunfight. They haven't been returning much fire as of yet. Want to try to stay healthy. Gas, once again, we got a minute until it moves. Vitality and LG, when are they going to see each other's faces?
Yeah, they're going to run into each other here pretty soon. We can see Vago already stepped out into a vehicle, and he is scouting for his team, looking for that next position, trying to get that rotation possibly sooner than later because he does not want to be rotating with the gas at the same time as LG. Typically, when two teams have to rotate with the gas on top of them, both teams just kind of get mopped up by each other and both eliminate each other, and neither one of these teams want to do that. Era, Cutie Venom, going to find the second kill of the game onto Plus Ultra. Kendesu going to go down there. So we now have the rest of Plus Ultra trying to get healed up right on top of this airdrop. Not sure if, I don't believe we got to see what's in that one. And in comes WBG as we see those E-tips start to come out into the trees, which is going to really press and give some issues to Plus Ultra. They're going to have to go ahead and back off of that. You can't really press into a guy that's throwing the explosive tips. The E-tips hits a tree, it damages all the way through 360 degrees. So he just has to hit the tree that you're on to cause damage to you, which is really the part that makes them so disruptive.
Yeah, they were hitting the smoke as well. They knew where the player would be, but just like this, Vago going to be able to pick up a kill onto Era. We knew that Vitality was very close by. Deacon going to pick up 2 for himself, but we knew Vitality was very close to LG. Not going to be finding a kill there. Instead, it's going to be on Era. That fight is still going on. Hurrah going to be able to pick up 1 on Prodigy Aces. Era now behind these trees inside of the smoke. Vision going to be really tough, but you talk about the E-tip having crazy destructive power. Grenades are going to do the same thing. It's that area denial, and also just if you throw it into the smoke, most likely they're going to be hanging out in there. You can find a lot of kills that way. Era starts to move away. Cutie Venom had picked up a kill for, a little bit earlier on. You can see 1 in that back pocket, but is not hungry for the kills here. Wants to start to move away, but it looks like Impact has rotated over relatively late. They moved back just a little bit, and now they may bump straight into Echo Fox.
Yeah, we're going to see this fight start to break out. Method, WBG, LG, all rotating here. Gas just finally stopping, marking that next area. Chipsy going to find himself a grenade kill into Plus Ultra. Plus Ultra getting picked apart right now. Method going to drop a player to Flowers. Method and WBG right on top of each other. Reddit coming in, getting a kill into Method. Carta actually going down. Impact down a player. We're going to need to keep an eye on that here pretty soon. Method, Melander going to drop down to Flowers now as well. These teams are trading out. No one team really mopping up the other. Each one trading kill for kill.
Ridarn able to do it there. Is he going to be able to take 2? He does it inside of the smoke. He cuts down 2 members there from World's Best Gaming. Method, though, has been bruised up as well. They lost quite a few players in that engagement, but Ridarn keeping the dream alive for just a little bit and picking up 2 kills. Keep in mind, there is also a bounty at stake. That's going to be $5,000. Picking up 2, going to do a lot of work towards that. LG has moved out of that place that they were inside of, moved out of that warehouse, and they still do have the advantage of having this hunting rifle in Drazzle's hands, and it was Vitality that they were close to. They didn't have to fight him then, but now putting some shots with a hunting rifle into him, they don't find much personnage. CLG going to be able to pick up a kill, and another miss with that hunting rifle, trying to find the kills with the 308. Nerve White far off in the distance, trying to avoid these fights. Ridarn, after finding that kill, needs to hide just a little bit longer. He's not ready to take another fight yet, and you can see every time that LG Drazzle is going in with that scope, he's going right over that player from Method, but not able to see him. Impact all inside of the same smoke. Fox can get in some explosives there. They are at a pretty great distance, so they shouldn't be able to, but they would be able to chunk majority of that team. The question is, when will that fight actually break out? We have SOA with 2 members left remaining, just in between some powerhouse teams.
Yeah, we're going to see LG hop out right on top of Plus Ultra. Drassel and Chipsy going to be the first 2 going in for that. Drassel finding a kill into Nebosuke. We're going to see Plus Ultra just get picked apart here. Shell Shock, that Impact Fox fight has broke out now. Drassel's going to get returned, gets down by Vitality Damsies, and we are going to see fights breaking out everywhere. It looks like all teams are dropping players. One of the only teams I haven't seen drop a player yet, I believe CLG is probably 5 up still, and I think Echo Fox still has a couple up, but as we say that, Impact going to start putting the damage in. Crank is going to drop. Geesh, Candyman coming in with the explosives, raining them in, finding 1 kill. Echo Fox down to 3.
This is one of the most dominant gunfights you could have. Like you said, the explosives come in as well, but they're not losing players. Ridarn going to be taken out here. Only 9 teams are left up at this point. Nerve White has entered the fray as well. CLG putting some really good shots into them. This is the best performance really that we have seen from CLG, just based off the way they're taking this gunfight and based off their positioning now. Nerve going to lose another player here. Only 1 is left up for them. Impact really dominant on this map at this point. We can see Yogi goes down as well. Echo Fox at their wits' end. CLG looking to pick up more kills here, but Impact is just once again in that kill feed, taking out a player from Vitality. Vitality trades out with the explosive. Impact riding the gas very well here. They're looking very healthy, but Vitality going to be able to pick up 2. Arrow is going to set back this team a whole bunch. They still have Shell Shock. They still have Candyman, but it looks like they may fall down. down as well. Another explosive going to seal the fate of this team. Candyvan inside of the gas trying to roll a heal. This is the top place team going into this one. Now Chipsy needs to try to get out of here as well. LG all perched up by this rock. Vitality going to lose Hoppy here, this time to CLG. CLG really starting to come alive in this third place game. We had the 12 best teams, now only 7 remain, and they are playing for $150,000.
And you see Candy narrowly escaping that gas, finds his way in, but is going to eventually get taken out. He's going to go down to Liam. Impact taking 7th in this final game. 6 teams remain, 19 players up. We see Era and Spirit of Amiga right on top of each other. Devontae right here. Zachary searching for him in that gas. 2 players going to drop from mid. 3 players go down. CLG mopping up on that side of the map as they rain down fire into mid. Devontae still inside of this smoke, running around, and it looks like he may actually bleed out unless he has a heal currently rolling. He is able to narrowly escape and gets out of there, but gets found right at the end. CLG finding that. CLG getting a ton of kills here.
This is a really good position for Vitality being. They should be able to clean up towards the end, but CLG just having the full squad here, nice and healthy. If they engage with LG early, though, that may be the opportunity for the other team to come in. Vitality going to lose another one, though. We have our final 3, and it is some new faces here in the late portions of the game. 11 players going to be up, now on board with Flamehopper. We've seen him hide. Now we can see him inside of this gunfight trying to pick up some kills. LG knocking on Vitality's door. These players are not healthy. They're definitely down in this gunfight. Chipsy trying to solidify that lead, putting some shots into Arrow. That was the one who was able to take out Impact for the majority. He gets those final kills there. Chipsy, though, now under the gunfire of CLG. He doesn't see the last player remaining on the side of Vitality. Most likely going to try to hide here as well inside of that smoke for a little bit longer, but it will dissipate soon. Chipsy now is, oh my goodness, Vitality just getting in there very quick, but Dams is going to go down. Now we have our top 2. It is LG and CLG. CLG, the reigning champion from Atlanta, looking to repeat that in this game. They have not had the performance yet. LG, another huge team as far as team play is concerned. 4 versus 5.
Yeah. Right now, this is definitely going CLG's way, though. CLG with center safe zone. They don't have to move. Open field on the side of LG, having to basically just use smoke nades to deny line of sight, but they have no hard cover, and they're going to have to press into CLG. CLG still has trees to back up if needed. They're not going to have anywhere to back up to as LG if they do push up when these throwables come out, and we can see this starting to happen.
The most
CLG
dominant
just
endgame that you could possibly
kills it.
see from CLG. They come back in that last game. We said this was going to be their test. Just like that, they have proof they are still one of the greatest teams in H1Z1. And that is a huge performance from them, but this is cumulative. All 3 of these games going to be added up, tallied together to determine who is going to take the king share of the $150,000. And honestly, it looks like it should be going to Impact, but CLG going to be able to jump up there. You see them celebrating. They should be in the money here, Supersonic.
Yeah, they're definitely, I think, going to be, I don't know if you can win a game and not make it into that top 5 position. I definitely think that they're going to kind of edge their way up and in. They kind of had some middle-of-the-ground performances there, with Flamehopper being able to kind of carry them a little bit further. They didn't really have any too many top-end performances, but at first place, we've seen it. It's a lot of points. It makes a huge difference. It impacts that overall score a ton.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. It really is designed that way. Some crack mathematicians just figure that all out. The top-notch maths put that together, making sure that that first place win is very much stressed for these players. But let's see how the standings were all tallied. We don't have to do the maths. We have people who can figure it out for us. Impact Gaming going to be your champions of teams here for the H1Z1 Elite Series. We are live in Sweden. They have done it on Swedish soil. From DreamHack winner, second place team, going to be Counter Logic Gaming. They actually managed to sneak all the way up to second. In third, going to be Method. Method was able to win the solos with Oliver, so Method having really powerful representation here, but you got to give it up for Impact Gaming. They looked incredible. It didn't even look like a contest. You can see 40,000 points separating them from second place.
Yeah, I mean, Impact definitely crushed that one out. One of the things, though, to note on CLG, though, is that they didn't have such a dominant end game there. It was actually, the score was so close between second and third, it was separated by kills. So there was more kills on the third place team, but had they had a few less kills on CLG at the end of that match, they would have ended up in third. So kills coming in big there at the end, but Impact, obviously the story to look at for this tournament, showing up huge as they take down first place in game 1, second place in game 2. Little rough game 3 there, but it's so hard to try and knock a team off the top spot that takes a first and second to start it off.
I mean, even when you look at the third game, they still, just the way that they were playing, they're able to just change the tide of H1Z1 so quickly. They're in a position where all of a sudden 3 teams are surrounding them. They smoke it off. They figure out how to take the good kills, and all of a sudden they're able to just be incredibly consistent. Let's look at some of the plays, though, that we did see in that last game, see how we got to where we are, see why we crowned the champion that we did. We're jumping on board with, oh, this was such a crazy play. This was Ridarn actually managing to get the 2-piece out of the smoke.
Yeah, I think Ridarn ended up finding Flowers only because he ran into him and couldn't move anymore and realized there was something holding him down. Ends up throwing the shots into the ground, takes him out, finds the second player, able to clean up, keep Method in there a little bit longer, and ends up helping Method net themselves that third place finish.
Yeah, and that is massive as well. I mean, picking up kills like that, staying alive a little bit longer, Ridarn manages to take home, I mean, top 3 teams take a lot of money. Now, LG was one of those teams we wanted to see a lot out of. We get to do just that in this play when they are playing up against Plus Ultra.
Yeah, that press on Plus Ultra was executed really well. They had to make an aggressive play. Chipsy and Drassel being those lead players for that as they came in. Chipsy leading the way, kind of giving Drassel cover with the car. Hops gets the attention on him. Drassel comes in to get that first kill, and then it's kind of shaking up Plus Ultra, allowing them to get the rest of the players up and mop up.
Well, when you really do look at LG in that game, the main thing was they got a really strong location early on, and then it was Vitality that kind of did the classic Vitality, moved up in there, tried to take over that area just a little bit, very close to that team, but this play was another one that we have to pay attention to. It's Impact right up against that team that we were talking about, Vitality.
Yeah, so you're going to see Candy go ahead and decide, and he's going to stop here. So they're pressing in. Candyman going to go ahead and stop and decide that he's going to stay back a little bit so they don't all get naded together. You see them kind of spread out. Shellshock is going to get eliminated there, but Candy actually chooses to play the gas side of this. He could have rotated into the safe side of that smoke nade, but you're not typically going to throw grenades back into the gas. You're not expecting him to be there. So he gets a few more seconds out, then rotates out late, back into the smoke. He does end up getting eliminated here, but it was a smart play from him. They go down in 7th, that being the worst game that they had so far, but it being so consistent in game 1 and game 2, it's really hard to get knocked off that top spot.
40,000 points ahead of second place, which is massive. But the team that was able to catch up was CLG with their finish in this game, and it was a beautiful one, just so dominant. LG having a lot of players left up at this point. They have 4, and it's just 4 versus 5. A classic finish here from the trees as well, and CLG just grabs the reins and runs away with this third game.
CLG has a great spot here. They have the center safe zone. LG has to rotate into them. CLG's already got the spread to be able to get the angles, really just kind of working it into LG. I don't know that LG, unless they just would have nailed some nutty 2-taps. There's really no way for LG to fight their way out of this one. It's just so stacked in the side of CLG having 5 up and that big of a spread with all the hard cover.
CLG just silences the questions of whether or not they are a consistent enough team to come out and win another H1Z1 Elite Series. They made it very clear that they can. They come in second place here, and obviously that's not as great of a result as Atlanta, but they prove they are still one of these top teams. And hey, losing to Impact, it still feels pretty good considering how Impact did play, Lauren.
Right, and we have the legend himself sitting at the desk with us, Jeesh. Congratulations on you and your team just pulling down first place in the team finals. What is going through all of your heads right now?
I mean, we're all very, very excited. We traveled pretty far. I know a lot of us are excited to be here. Some of us are pretty nervous from the flights and stuff like that, but this team has practiced every single day from the start of November. 5 hours of scrims every single day. We put in the time, we put in the work, and I'm very impressed with the team.
Big question I have for you too is how does the team feel about that second game, about that finish? I mean, it really all came down to what you were able to pull off.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, at Atlanta we won first game, so we kind of played for placement there. But here in Sweden, we said we're going to play aggressive no matter what. So after the first game, we won. I made a call for us to push onto the bridge to try and just kind of stay alive there, but I didn't think it was that good of a call, to be honest with you. So me throwing the nades and stuff like that helped us to get the position that we needed to get, which was second place. So I'm very happy with it.
Those nades were absolutely insane. Yeah, all of a sudden you were able to equalize the fight that was going on between those two teams that were underneath you, and they start trading out kill after kill.
Yeah, I mean, and he did the back and forth, basically putting damage into each team. Okay, I've got a few down out of here. Let's go ahead and assist them. And he just kept, it's kind of like that push and pull. I'm your friend. I'm not your friend. I'm your friend. I'm not your friend. It just kind of sat there and ate away at him. So that was well thought out. It wasn't just, I'm just trying to take any kill I can. It's strategically thinking still and making sure that he's keeping that even to make sure those gunfights work out, because he wants those teams to eliminate each other, and it ended up working out that way for you.
I mean, as a team, you guys are seriously making a name for yourselves right now. So how exactly did you guys come together? How were you formed?
So we Fight for the Crown was when we kind of all came together, besides Triv, and we had Camson, which was someone that we played with for Fight for the Crown. And then Cam decided to kind of step out of the scene. He had to take care of some stuff in real life. And then that's when we picked up Triv. And Triv's been great with the team. So a little background right there. But we've been playing together now for probably 6-7 months now consistently.
Way to pick up, though, in Triv. I mean, we've seen Triv over and over again in solos, just doing crazy things. We were talking about some strategies that he breaks out in teams every now and then as well.
Yeah, Triv's definitely, we talk about him a lot. He's that oddball, that odd duck player that doesn't he doesn't play the meta. He definitely tries to play something to shake it up. He's that guy that likes to bring in the SMG when nobody else is using it, and use it at ranges that it's not usually intended for. He's also the guy that likes to play the E-tip. So I think that he's definitely that guy that comes in and is that disruptive player, which worked really well with your guys' style.
Yeah, he's pretty much the annoying player that you don't want to play against. It's like all of a sudden somehow you're getting hit by MP7 100 yards away, and it's just like, now I'm a little tilted, you know what I mean? My makeshift's gone, my helmet's gone. You know, that's kind of frustrating in game when that happens, and especially with the MP7, kind of puts a little bit of players on tilt.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something that effectively tilts somebody. I know that if I'm getting hit long range with an MP7, I'm instantly angry, banging on my desk. I'm upset. So having somebody be able to do that and tilt somebody on land, that can definitely help you out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not only did you guys have amazing finishes those games, but you also managed to pull down 28 kills overall in the event. And you ended up with the most kills overall in its entirety. That's an insane amount of kills. Like, there's 60 people playing. Like, think about that. You guys took down the majority of the players.
We strive on being aggressive. We don't play for placement unless it's needed. We're going to go out. We don't care what team you are. We're going to straight up and fight you and push you off your spot. If you're not going to fight us back, then sorry. If you're going to fight us back, we're going to wipe you. If not, we have your spot.
Yeah, I mean, I think we even have an image listing all the top kills so that we can actually see them now.
That was definitely an effective strategy, though.
Yeah,
I think that's the main thing.
Just kidding. We don't have that. However, your kills were very impressive. We're actually going to let you go. We're going to get you set up so you guys can go claim your $50,000 prize. That is absolutely unreal. And in case you didn't hear before, and in case you guys didn't know, not only do the overall top 10 solo players from the solo finals receive that ASUS Republic of Gamers in-game backpack skin, but also the top 5 overall teams from our team event will also receive that really cool exclusive skin. So that's really exciting for everyone. For everybody at home, if you haven't done so already, make sure that you remember to log in and redeem that in-game bandana skin. And you can do so at h1z1.com/Elite Series bandana. For all news H1Z1 related, make sure you check out their Twitter at H1Z1 on Twitter.com. Thank you so much to all of our sponsors, all the players, and of course, all of our fans. On behalf of myself, Supersonic, and Rich, and everybody here at DreamHack with H1Z1, we want to say thank you so much, and that's a wrap on the Elite Series at DreamHack Winter.